everyone. I'm Michelle Ray Smith, and welcome to another episode of Press Paws, your daily dose of animal appreciation. You know, I've seen people talk to their animals, but I think they should listen to them more often. As an animal lover my whole life, I can tell you that they are the only species in the world that gives unconditional love and asks for nothing in return. On today's show, you'll see who's standing guard over a soldier's pet while they stand guard on deployment, a little horse with a big heart, and there's no such thing as an old dog. They're just vintage puppies. If you go into the ice cream section of your local supermarket, you'll find 3 freezers of every brand imaginable. But if you're lucky, you'll find a pint of South Mountain Creamery. And if you're like me, you can't wait to get to the register to start eating. And it all comes from the Sowers family farm in Middletown, Maryland.
We overcame a lot to get to where we're at, so I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, from when I was a kid to where we are today, give all thanks to the Lord. We couldn't do it without Him.
I'm Karen Beachley Sowers. I am married to Mr. Randy Sowers since 1974. We started Sowers Dairy in 1981 and South Mountain Creamery in 2001.
For the first 10 years, I did everything on the farm. Karen taught school and brought in the money to live off of, and we farmed and tried to make a go of it. And most people thought we would never make it, but we proved them wrong on that one. But the guy that we bought the farm from actually helped us a lot.
I'm Ben Sowers. I'm Randy and Karen's son. I was one of the first employees here. I was born in 81, and they started in 81, so I've been employed here forever.
My name's Kate Sowers. I'm Ben's wife, so Randy and Karen are my mother and father-in-law. My role here is, I kind of fill in and do a little bit of everything.
I'm in charge of all the agriculture, the farm side of things. Growing up on the farm, it was slow times to me, you know. You could go for 4 or 5 hours and the parents never know where you're at. You're up in the woods or in the pond. I was definitely doing all kind of field work by 9 or 10 years old.
My kids, they argued because, all their friends in school didn't have to come home and work. They didn't have to do nothing when they got home. So he'd bring friends along home and have them do the work.
When you have to lift stuff that's really heavy, or when you just get bored, the boring parts aren't that fun, but feeding calves, milking, that's all fun.
They have chores they have to do after they get home from school. One of them needs to feed calves, the other one's down helping the milk or helping in the store or in the shop, and then on the weekends, going to farmers markets with Randy and Karen and helping them. So, that's a long day because they get up at 4:30 and they're gone all day.
And the people at the farmers markets really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. They miss the kids when they're not there. They want to know what they're doing and what they're up to. And those kids can talk with people into mind most anything.
South Mountain Creamery being part of the community is, I call it grassroots. We want to show how we care about our animals and what we do it for. And that's why we open ourselves up. We want to show the good and the bad. People think that, agriculture is not a good thing or milk's not a good thing. Every once in a while, there's a complaint. And you got to take that complaint and try to make sure that everybody's educated.
We try to keep things clean and neat around here, but when you come here, you're going to see what farming's about. It's not going to be sugar-coated, but we like to answer questions that people have and try to educate them on what agriculture actually is.
We have friends that are all over, and when you tell them about all natural products that's home delivered, they're just, amazed by it.
It was an idea from the early 90s. My sister wanted to have an on-farm processing plant. The glass bottle thing was just really, cool to all of us to do. And glass bottle milk delivered, really? We didn't think that was any more, and well, That's why we brought it back. There was nobody that was doing that.
My hopes for the future is that, one day the kids are going to want to be here and hopefully take over for us one day.
My thing to them all the time is whatever you do in life, working hard, being respected, and having a good work ethic will get you anywhere. It doesn't have to be on the farm. And we love to let people come. We get 30,000 people a year here, and we get to teach each and every one of them about what agriculture is about. We just, we want to be humble stewards of the land.
Not only do the Sowers produce some of the best dairy products in the country, they also make homemade doggy treats with flavors like beef stew and chicken pot pie. Walk into any animal shelter and you'll be met by so many excited, adorable faces that you'll want to take them all home. Unfortunately, senior dogs are often the last choice for a young family. Erin Stanton adopted an older dog named Susie, and their relationship has helped change the fortunes of thousands of elderly pups.
Susie is my husband and I, our late dog, who passed away in 2016. We adopted her about 5 years ago through our experience with adopting her as an older animal. She was around 11 when she came into our life. I learned kind of the plight of senior dogs and that there are a lot of them in shelters that were overlooked just because of their age. And so she is the namesake of Susie Senior Dogs. So we had her for the course of about a year and a half, and people would kind of ask, how old she is she a puppy? Oh, she's 11 years old or 12 years old, and how long have you had her? And then they would, when they learned that we had only adopted her recently as a senior dog, there was always surprise, and that led me to the information that this was kind of an unusual thing. It was just kind of like this great little dog that came into our life. That led me to do research about senior dogs who are available in shelters in New York City at first, because we live here. And that's when I found, there are other older dogs out there, and it kind of was like this spiral effect of me learning about the need for senior dog adoption. And one day I just said, I'm going to make a little page about Susie's homeless friends, and we can maybe bring some attention to them. It wasn't even a long thought out process. It was just Susie's Senior Dogs, and I created the Facebook page. Of course, there are senior dog sanctuaries and rescues and people who have been rescuing senior dogs long before Susie Senior Dogs existed, but there wasn't this mass exposure or enough attention on it. And I think Susie Senior Dogs was lucky in that it started to grow really quickly through social media. And I think that helped to bring more attention to people that have already been kind of doing this work, to other senior dog rescues around the country, and to the need of senior dogs in shelters in general. And people kind of realizing I wasn't ready or wanting to get a new puppy. But hey, I can take in an 8-year-old dog that, just needs a quiet place to rest for the rest of their years. I think older dogs are really great companions. The fact alone of bringing home a senior dog who needs a good home, that in itself is just, I think, so beautiful and such a special experience. I haven't done a recent count of how many dogs have gotten adopted through Susie Senior Dogs. A couple months back was, I think, close to 1,000. I think anyone is suited to adopt an older dog, and the reason I say that is because just like people, the needs of a senior dogs they're all different, and there are different people to match each of those needs. I don't know why I'm feeling emotional about this, but it's like, obviously you're not always gonna have as much time as you want with them. But that people who choose to adopt them, and they continue to choose to adopt them as an older animal. That's why all the adoption stories I think are important, because then that means that senior dog has someone that will care about him, whether or her, whether it's for the day, a week, 5 years, they're all equally great. For anyone who is considering getting a dog, I always cannot emphasize more, adopt. And that's just something that somebody has to decide on their own and be ready for. But I have never once heard a senior dog adopter regret adopting this older dog, which I think just really shows kind of the beautiful experience and value and love and strong companionship and relationship that people get from bringing an older pet home, and kind of age just kind of doesn't become important anymore.
I hope this settles the argument once and for all that old dogs can certainly teach us new tricks. Nearly 6 million elderly Americans are living with dementia-related symptoms. While scientists work tirelessly for a cure, there's a hospital using kittens as therapy to help patients bridge the gap between the past and present. And naturally, it's in Catalina, California.
We are always looking for new activities for our residents that bring depth and meaning, and of course also joy into their lives. Neonatal kittens need around-the-clock 24-hour care. They need to be bottle fed every few hours, and we just simply can't do that at our shelter. We don't have 24-hour around-the-clock staff. We have a super skeleton crew at the shelter. So we rely exclusively on foster families to do this kind of work. So without Catalina Springs Memory Care stepping forward, these little kittens might not have made it.
She thinks I am her mother somehow, and but no, she's a wonderful kitten.
From the moment I came out to Catalina Springs Memory Care to take the photos that have been all over the internet, this was something really special. It was the most beautiful and touching account of what we do, because seeing the residents light up, seeing them recall memories from their childhood, seeing their family members sort of weeping in the corner at the beauty of the moment, this was by far the most special thing I've ever been involved with Pima Animal Care Center. And when I think back to when I started 3 years ago, the good news stories we were telling were about, hey, we're saving pets with broken bones, and this is like the next level for us. This is us going out into the community and not only benefiting the pets in our care, but benefiting people. So this is like by far the most amazing professional experience I've ever had.
I just love cats and dogs.
Beyond the fact that they survived when they wouldn't have without Catalina Springs Memory Care stepping forward, they've received so much touch and socialization here at the center that they are going to be the most well-adjusted, perfect kittens in their forever home. So with everyone, when you see the residents holding them, it's so touching, but it's also really good for the kittens to get that constant interaction with people. These kittens are going to be what we call bomb-proof. They can go anywhere, they can do anything, they can live with anybody because they're going to be so well socialized.
Are you a big baby? Are you a big baby? You are. You're a big baby.
Sometimes I think, how old would I be if I didn't know how old I was? Or more specifically, how old do I need to be to hang out with those kittens? No pet should ever be surrendered to a shelter due to a military commitment. Dogs on Deployment was founded to help military members keep their pets by finding willing homes to care for them until they return from service.
My name's Debbie Gaskell. I'm the Executive Director for Dogs on Deployment. Dogs on Deployment is a national nonprofit that serves military members by helping to find foster homes for their pets when they have to go away either on deployment or extended training exercises.
We're there to help the military service members keep their family together as with their pets. Yes. But we got involved in it simply because it's a military organization. military-related organization, here to help the service members.
Dogs on Deployment began in 2011 by a dual military couple. They are both active duty. The husband is in the Navy, the wife is in the Marine Corps. They both had to be away at the same time and didn't know what to do with their beloved dog, JD. And so that sort of started the idea of Dogs on Deployment. And they began just a few years ago, and it's grown incredibly since then through the support of both the co-founders and the team that's been building. It's 100% volunteer and growing every day.
Dogs on Deployment has a lot of events.
The more that we can get information about Dogs on Deployment out to the public, not just in search of foster homes, people that are willing to help out a military service member by taking their pet into their home, but also to get the word out to the service members themselves that this option is there and you don't have to give your dog up on Craigslist. You don't have to take your dog to the pound, and you know that there are options and there are people that will help. It's so easy to be able just to bring somebody else's dogs into your home, but it doesn't have to be dogs. It could be cats, or it could be birds, it could be snakes, it could be ferrets, it could be any kind of pet that is important to that service member, that just to be able to reunite them when they come home and let them stay together as a family. And we've been really blessed, I think, to have the number of dogs that have come in and then been able to reunite them with their families has been really great.
I love watching videos of dogs reacting to the first sight of their soldier besties coming home. Cry every time. Molly is a horse who, after losing a leg, has become an inspiration to people who have endured amputation and are adjusting to their new selves. That makes her as big a champion as any winner of the Triple Crown.
Molly is really special because she has this ability to connect with people. She's the most human horse I've ever had.
She's extremely smart. She's able to adjust to her environment. I don't know if I could have done what she did. I don't know if I could survive without my foot, but she did.
So I've rescued more animals than I can possibly count. From the horses to the goats to the dogs to the cats. They come in different shapes and sizes. And Molly the pony actually was stuck in her barn after Hurricane Katrina. She never gave me any trouble with her care, and it was quite intensive.
Her foot almost came off, and she didn't complain about it.
I essentially looked her in the eyes and had tears running down my face, and I said, "What do you want me to do now, Molly?" And I swear this pony answered me right here in my head and said, "I'm not ready to give up." When my vet came out, she's like, "Well, you know, it's time to put her down." And I said, "No, what I want to do is get the bad part amputated and get her a prosthetic leg." Shortly after we got her leg, I basically looked at her and I said, "Okay, all these horses out here, they all work for a living. What are you gonna do?" So she said, "We're gonna go to Children's Hospital." And I said, "Okay."
Molly has given so many kids, and even adults, a new beginning.
She helps sick people get better and makes them happier just like she does to me.
To be in a situation where you're helping other people to get past a devastating injury, loss of an arm, loss of a leg, is unbelievable.
So we've been to schools, we've been to nursing homes, we've been to hospices. Molly has gone through maybe 5 or 6 legs in the last 10 years. You know, she's pretty active and she's pretty hard on them. And right now we're in really desperate need of a new leg.
She needs every part of a new leg, even a bottom. She's wore the rubbers out on some of these legs.
There's so many points in time where she's just impacted people and touched their lives, or had this little connection there that you could see that, you know, might have changed a person's life.
She's taught us that no matter what happens, you can survive.
Animals are the most adaptable creatures in the world. Molly doesn't feel sorry for herself. She quickly accepted her circumstances and is living her best life. We can all learn something from her. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Press Paws. I'm Michelle Ray Smith. See you next time.